Hi, welcome to my first kind of tutorial type video. I'm going to be talking through my process, how to draw a girl, essentially. Um, I've got my reference up here. Usually I find references as I'm drawing, but I thought I'd get a little bit more prepared since I'm filming the video. But yeah, I'm going to be trying to talk through everything that I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and just keep in mind, disclaimer, that this is just one type of way that you can draw. If you don't do these things, it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. Um, and there are so many different types of ways to draw things and different processes that you can use. This is just the one that I use that works for me. Um, I tend to be a bit um, kind of sporadic, if that's the word. Um, I'm not very structured, and I'm a bit messy when it comes to drawing. But that's the process that I enjoy. Because again, if you don't enjoy your process and you don't like the way you draw, your drawings aren't probably gonna come out the way you want them to, and you're not gonna enjoy drawing. So, anyway, here's the reference on the screen. It is on my other screen, so I'll probably take it off, but I'll try and put any other references that I'm using up. Okay. I would say always try and use a reference. You don't have to use a reference. I don't all the time. But if it's something you've never drawn before, or you don't know what to draw yet, having a reference is a good place to start. So probably just going to get to sketching a little bit. So I'm going to try doing like a head shape, kind of rough. So this is, I always do it like a first layer, which isn't usually a refined layer. So something like that, and maybe kind of like use a line to where I kind of want to angle the face to. I'm going to try it a bit more central because I usually do off-centered. Then I don't always do this, but another line, kind of when I'm looking up a little bit, kind of like the reference, and then try and put an ear in. I'll probably move it, and maybe another ear in because of the way the head's angled. Yeah, awesome. Then put the neck in, kind of. Again, you kind of learn where to put it. I'll try and explain why I'm putting it there. So the neck isn't super thin. You probably see in anime stuff. You can stylize it. It doesn't. It depends on your style. It doesn't matter too much. Again, everyone's different as well. People are different. So even if I put it here, that won't be wrong. If I put it here, it looks a bit off, but might not necessarily be wrong. Again, if you are drawing like an anime style, that definitely wouldn't be wrong. Or if it's in your style, it wouldn't be wrong either. Again, there's so many ways you can draw different things. Yeah, okay. Awesome. So I kind of got this. I might draw in kind of start to it. I'll probably look at references a bit later on the clothes I kind of want to give her. But that's not too important at the minute. And then I'm gonna start drawing in some facial features. So usually I kind of give it a rough line of where I'm gonna draw things. So you kind of want to do, I guess, the nose sort of where the ears are, or you do the nose and then you put the ears where the nose is. And then line for the mouth, which is going to be sort of halfway between there and there. I think I tend to put mine a little bit higher when I'm drawing, give the chin a bit of extra room, I guess. I think that's looked better to me. Yeah, so sort of the mouth will go there. Again, flip your canvas because I tend to draw things quite wonky and I don't even realise I'm doing it. So flipping your canvas is a very good thing to do, even just once in a while. You can't always see the mistakes you're making, but when you flip it, it makes it a lot easier to see any mistakes. Okay, so mouth there, and then I'm kind of going to draw the eye. Sometimes I kind of start with these circle shapes, which is kind of the, I don't know, where the nose is kind of nose bridges here in the middle. And then I'm going to draw the eye. Typically, most people will tell you to draw part of the eye, then the other side, which you probably should do, and I probably should do it, but I tend not to do it that way. I should do it that way. It stops your eyes being completely different to each other, but it's typically not the way I do it, so I'm not going to change what I'm doing. But again, if you do it like me, that is fine. If you do it a different way, that's also fine. So yeah, flipping my canvas again. Gonna try and draw another eye in there. I tend to draw moody looking characters. Yeah, I was just about to go into the nose, but I'm going to finish this bit of the eye first. I kind of go back and forth when I'm drawing a lot. So then I'm going to do a nose. I try to do a triangle kind of shape. And then look at my reference a little bit there. And then I'm going to do a little Cupid's bow for the mouth. Kind of drawing the shape for the mouth. Do that. Maybe slightly parted. Like that. And then just the bottom. And then kind of the shape there. Okay. And then we've kind of got the rough kind of sketch going. I'm definitely going to move a lot of this around. Cool, and then I'm going to go on to the hair. Not yet. I'm going to add the kind of give the eye some dimension, like this little bit under the eye. Actually add a pupil there, like that. Cool. I'm going to slightly off turn her torso a little bit, roughly. Awesome. Now I'm going to kind of think what kind of hair I want to do. I don't know if I want to do it like the reference or not. So for the hairline, I've drawn this hairline in as well. So this just helps me know where I'm going to start bringing this out from. You can also draw the actual head, which is actually quite helpful. Like that. It's probably supposed to be a bit bigger than that, but it's going to be covered by hair, so I'm not too bothered about that. Maybe just this kind of code shape for the ear, maybe something like that. And it's going to be slightly off-turned because her face is slightly off-turned on the other side. But that might actually be covered up by hair. I'm not sure yet. I do want to give her a nose ring as well, like the reference I've got. And probably give her some eyebrows. when I used to draw a lot, I used to forget to draw eyebrows in so much. And then I'd finish the entire piece and then realise they were missing eyebrows. Yep, there we go. She's got eyebrows now. Now that I've drawn the eyebrows in, I can kind of see I've done this bit too short. So I'm going to just grab the pen brush. Oh, the brush I'm using is literally just a textured, like, pencil brush. Yeah. In my favourites, I usually only use two, and that's this one and one you'll see later as well, which is this one. I love this brush. So I only really use two brushes, but just to make it easier on myself erasing, I'm just going to use the pen brush, which is literally just an opaque pen. Cool, and then I'm now going to redraw the hairline in. There we go, and we want a little bit more space, so we've got more space, because the eyes are typically supposed to be halfway between the head. So now it looks like they're about halfway between the head. Nice. Cool. And now I'm just going to start drawing the hair. So I might do kind of like we've got on the reference, like a curtain. Come in here. And when I'm sketching hair, I just try and be quite loose, but also block in kind of shapes. It's going to be slightly, you want that part in, maybe slightly turned. In here. I think what I might actually do is cover up the ear. I always draw the ear in case I want the ear, but then also you can still see part of the ear. And there. Maybe same on the other side. Scribble out. And then maybe my fringe should kind of be swooping over like that. I think you can kind of see in the reference as well. But you can just pull from your memory as well. Again, if you can't pull from your memory, that's where you references really come in handy. So something like that. There we go. Cool. Quite happy with that. Yeah, nice. Cool. I might do is just move it down slightly, maybe make it a bit bigger. This is just so I don't actually have to draw the clothes that much. Just do. There we go. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, nice. Cool. Usually I wouldn't actually spend that much time on the first sketch. But I'm actually happy with how that's come out. Usually I do a really rough sketch like this, and then I'd go into refining it after on top. But because I'm quite happy with that, we'll keep it this how it is, and we'll just work into this one. So I'm probably just gonna fix up the sketch a little bit, take out these lines, and just make some lines darker where I want them to be. So cool. Okay, awesome. I've just moved a few things. Basically the nose. I might move this eye here or this one. It's looking a bit high in comparison to the other. So this one, move that slightly up, just the shape a little bit. I think the most important thing is if you are starting out drawing or you want to get better at drawing faces, is to use references and practice drawing from those references, even if it's like just stylized, so you can get to know where the features are supposed to go in the face. But yeah, as I've talked you through how I do it, splitting the face, where you kind of want the angle, where you want the eyes. Eyes kind of go halfway, and the nose should kind of meet with the ears, and then the mouth kind of goes between the nose and the chin. Maybe give it a little bit more space for the chin at the bottom there. Yeah, and then hair, when I'm sketching it, I'm trying to be quite loose. And you want that part in there. Cool. Now I'm just going to start with colouring. So I kind of want to put in kind of a background colour first. Maybe go with my favourite colour, which is purple. And then I'm going to grab my favourite brush, which is one of the Krita default brushes. I think it's chalk. I don't actually know what it's called, but I think yeah, chalk grainy, the grainy chalk. So we're going to use that and maybe add a little bit of texture to the background here, because I don't want to overcomplicate. Okay. Cool, so I've got a sketch, and now we're going to choose a skin colour. So for colouring, you kind of want to move in this kind of red area for skin colours. We go with a bit more of a red, and then just see how it looks on your character, maybe a bit more saturated. When I used to draw, I used to make my colours either too saturated or not saturated enough. So I think staying close to the middle range here is quite good. I'm just gonna kind of fill the area where I know her skin's going to be. Like that. Cool. And then I'm gonna create a new layer, and I'm gonna do her hair. Now, with her hair, I'm gonna kind of experiment with kind of what color I want. I could do a blue. We'll start with blue, and then if I can change it after if I don't like it. So, so what I'm doing here is I am using my textured brush to colour in the hair, kind of quite loosely. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm also using the eraser with the same brush, so it's the same brush, and I'm just cutting into it if I don't like the shape. So if I want a wispy line, because this brush doesn't create wispy lines, I'll cut it like that to create that wispy, cut into it to create that wispy line. And then just colour it in. I'm just going to do that. when you're drawing, make sure even if the hair does go up, that you still paint in this hairline. Otherwise your characters look like they're balding a little bit. So painting the hairline, add a bit of texture where it goes up. So yeah, unless your character is bold or balding. Make sure they've got a hairline. Cool. Now I might play around with the colours a little bit. The background's looking a bit too saturated compared to my character. I want my character to stand out, so just going to turn that down a little bit. And then I'm going to put a lock on my layer, so I'm going to lock that off with this little symbol on the side. And I'm going to get the pen again. And now I'm just going to experiment with the colours that I want. So pink might be nice. Purple. Try natural hair colour. Ooh, I like that. Do I like the pink? I think I like the red a bit more. Red, orange. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna now use my brush again. I just put a bit of colour variation in the hair. I'm going to turn that lock off just because I've missed some spots, which I tend to do with the way I draw, as I miss a lot of spots. Yeah, nice. Cool. Awesome. So this is probably my favourite bit now. I'm going to lock the skin layer and I'm going to colour pick the skin again. And I'm going to make it a little bit more red. And we're going to choose like a peachy reddish colour. And this is my favourite bit. And we kind of just go and create some colour variation into the skin. And I put it on the nose. And onto the lips. And I usually do it on the tops of the ears. I do it on the ears a little bit, and I do it under the neck. Kind of starts making it look like you're creating shadow. But it's just variation of the skin. Put it on the shoulder there. And under the eye. And over this eye. And then also on the cheeks as well. So I'm kind of trying to keep in mind the structure of the face as I do this. So the face tends to be like going up here. So I kind of do this sometimes where I kind of merge it into the cheek blush into the nose bridge. Yeah, nice. Maybe a little bit on the chin as well, and underneath the lips as well. And then into the hairline, like that. Cool. And then what I'm going to do is the eyes. I'm going to grab the skin color and I'm just going to move it towards the desaturated and make it a little bit whiter. And I'm going to add that for the eyeballs and the mouth there. And then maybe make her eyes a brown. Yeah, that's nice. Like that. Perfect. So we've got some colour in the skin there. different variations. You could even go as to adding a bit of yellow more in places, just so the skin looks different in different places, because the skin changes color in different places. Okay, cool. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a group. So I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to select that new layer and, ooh, that's terrifying, this layer. And I'm going to click group, and that creates like a clipping layer. But to make it a clipping mask, I need to click this alpha little thing here. And now, anything I paint on top, I can erase into that. It will be on just that skin layer there. And you can name it as well, if you'd like to. Like that. Cool. Now I'm going to do some shadow. Actually, before I do the shadow, I'm going to create another layer, and I'm going to make this nose ring a gold. I'm going to do like an orange. Like that. Okay, and then I'm going to change this layer to multiply. Usually I do multiply, you can use a normal layer as well. And then I'm just going to click the skin color there. And wherever we want shadow, we're just going to put some shadows in. So it's going to be under the eye, on the nose bridge here, and then definitely under the nose, so on the bottom of the nose and under the nose. You're going to want it on that bottom lip here. And then again, if the shape isn't right, I can just use the eraser tool, maybe under here a little bit, and under here. And then on the sides of the face, where the cheekbone is, we're going to put it there. Kind of want it a bit more subtle on the sides of the face, just slightly underneath the face there. And then we're also going to want it where the hair comes across the face, because that will create shadow. Like that. And the ear is going to be in shadow as well. This ear as well. And then under the chin, definitely going to be in shadow. And I'm kind of doing the direction of the lighting from this kind of top down from here. Slightly angled that way. Maybe a little bit on the shoulder here. Doesn't have to be perfect. Like that. Maybe a little bit here. And I might now experiment with the colour of this. So I have just chosen the skin colour. Maybe make it a bit darker and a bit more orange. So it's very red. Okay, and then I'm going to grab this a cotton bud blender blower, and it's just going to unlock that again, blend out some of the edges. So some I want a hard line, some I want a softer blend. So you want to kind of make sure you've got your hard and soft edges. I'm just going to go back in because I have forgot to put the shadow on the eye here. What I might do is choose a darker colour and just create some more darker shadows in places where the light's not going to get to. So in the ear here, underneath the neck, maybe this bit of the nose, here where the eyelid is, and the other bottom lid. Nice. Okay. Cool. And then the next step is the light. So you add a new layer. Again, clip that mask to there, and we're going to add some lighting. So I'm going to choose skin color again. I'm going to slightly move it towards that yellow, and I'm going to move it to be lighter. Maybe a bit more saturated. And then I'm going to add it in places where I think it would go. Yeah, I'm going to try and keep in mind the structure of the face and build up the structure using my lighter. So I like to do lighting around the nose and this area here. And underneath here. And if you do it in the wrong place, you can just erase it. That's why I like doing my rendering on different layers now. I used to do it all on the one layer. I'd shade on the layer, kind of like traditional painting you would. Because I feel like most artists came from a traditional background. I definitely did. So using layers was like a bit too much to think about when I started. So I just did it kind of all in one layer. So we're going to do that. Maybe a bit on the nose there. Erase into that a little bit. And then a little highlight on the nose like that. It's a bit too much. There we go. Zoom it out just so I can kind of see what it's looking like now. And then I put a little bit here, just under the mouth. That. And then on the chin as well. And then I can use my smudge tool to just smudge out some of this. Where I've drawn it a bit rough. And then the nose a little bit. And then definitely don't forget the head. Forehead here. It's definitely going to be hit by some light. On the side here. Cool. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to maybe turn that off a little bit. A little bit of a highlight on her eyes. Don't actually always do this anymore because I don't think it's as important as I thought it used to be. It is fun to do it, but not super important all the time. Cool. Nice. Okay. So I'm gonna just come off that layer. I'm gonna go above it. I'm gonna make a new layer, and I'm gonna draw in the top that I want her to be wearing. Even if it's just a indication. I'm actually going to change the background colour now, so it kind of fits with the colour scheme. So I might go with a bit of a yellowish. Kind of thing here. Cool. Then I'm going to move on to the hair. So we're going to do the same thing. New layer, group, click group. And then I'm going to add a clipping mask. And then we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to choose this color. We're going to turn it to multiply. And we're going to add shadow everywhere that we think the shadow should go. And again, if you're not sure, have a look at the reference that you might have saved, or a reference or references, and edit, or you can just guess and then that. Ta-da! That. Cool. And then we want to add a new layer. We're going to do hair pick the color pick the hair again, and slightly turn it towards the yellow and slightly lighter. And now we're going to do some highlights. So most of the highlight is going to be on this side of the hair. It's also going to be on the top. Then we can cut into it again. I think don't overdo it with the highlights. Again, you should start off with a lighter highlight, and then if you want, you can go on to some bright white ones, but start off with your lighter highlights first. Okay, cool. Then that is most of the basic stuff done. So what I might do is change the sketch color to a dark red. Changes to hair. Okay, nice. So what I've done is I've just turned my original sketch into a soft light layer, and I've gone over the sketch with a new layer, which is just a rough outline of the thing I still want to be dark. So that would be where lines kind of meet. The nose, the mouth, anywhere, the eyes, anything that would still be dark. And then I've kind of also outlined the character just because I can and I wanted to. So yeah, and I also add freckles. So what I might do, because I'm pretty happy with how this is, as just a loose sketch, is I'm just going to maybe work into the hair a bit more. So add some more light and stuff. I'm just gonna go over this, and I'm not gonna lock this layer. I'm just gonna add some more wispy strands. And I'm also gonna take that color again, turn it up even more, and highlight the hair even more. Like that. Okay, and then I'm going to create a layer above everything but the line art. And I'm actually going to grab the airbrush and I'm going to change this to color dot. And I'm just going to grab color of the face and we're going to, ooh, that's too much. I'm just going to lightly turn that down a little bit. Maybe, yeah, make that more saturated so that she comes out. And we're gonna just go over the face with some color dodge. And then maybe the hair as well, just at the top. As if the light's hitting this side. That's full, but I'm going to turn it down. That just adds a bit of lighting to it. And I'm actually going to go back into the skin layer as well, and I am going to add a new layer, and I'm going to click overlay, and just so the colours come out, I'm going to turn off that layer. And I'm gonna make the lips more red or pink, and maybe parts of the nose and the cheeks. And then turn that layer back on. And I think that is everything. So this is obviously quite a loose, sketchy kind of painting. That kind of walked through kind of the process that I do, and I'm drawing and I'm painting characters. If you liked it and it helped you, please give a subscribe. And if you have any suggestions for any other kind of tutorials you'd like to see, or if you'd just like to see me doing more complex paintings and talking through my processes with those, let me know. Otherwise, thank you for watching. If you made it through to the end, thank you very much. And I will see you on the next video.